Hi, my name is Latika Alok. I'm the creative director and event producer for Ladies VIP Night and Colombo VIP Nights. I moved to Sri Lanka about 8 years ago from Singapore, where I lived there for 22 years. In Singapore, I used to run a fashion brand called Glitterati. When I moved to Sri Lanka, I realized that there was a gap in the market for high-end events for women, and this is how Ladies VIP Night started. I'm being featured on this week's episode of Ask Me on High TV. So this segment is called Actually Me. So I guess you're going to find out all about me. So let's go. Ask me.
Hi Latika.
Hi.
What time do you get up in the morning and how do you start your day?
I get up at 6 a.m. and unfortunately I start the day by looking at my messages on my phone. I know that's not the right way, but that's what it is.
What brings out the inner child in you?
I think actually I would say Christmas. Christmas is definitely when the inner child comes out.
What are your top 3 travel destinations in Sri Lanka?
Neurelia. I love going to Galle at any time, and Jaffna.
How would your best friends describe you?
I think that's a question you're going to have to ask my best friends.
What's your secret vice?
Eating chocolate at an odd time.
Yoga or gym?
Gym.
What is the biggest disruption to your workday?
When I schedule my appointments and people cancel at the last minute.
Aside from necessities, what one thing could you not go a day without?
Unfortunately, it would have to be my mobile phone again.
Who has been the greatest influence on you and why?
I would have to say my husband. My husband's my critique, he's my support, and I can talk to him about anything that I want, so I'd say my husband.
What is the one thing you've not learned to do as of now?
Skydiving, or I don't know, there's so many things I would like to do which I haven't had the chance to do.
What makes you feel accomplished?
When I run an event and I take it from concept to implementation, and when the event is through and people have had a good time and they say, they're looking forward to the next one, I feel that's accomplished.
Kumar Sangakkara or Mahela Jayawardena?
I don't know. I don't think I'd like to comment on that. I think they're both equally good in how they play.
What is the best way to conduct a meeting?
I would say the best way is to be prepared, have an agenda, and turn up on time.
Would you rather trade intelligence for looks or looks for intelligence?
I think intelligence is always wins. Looks can fade, but I think intelligence is what stays.
Would you rather play golf with Tiger Woods or go to the Oscars with Rowan Atkinson?
Go to the Oscars any day.
Android or Apple?
Apple.
What is one attribute that every businesswoman should have?
I would say confidence, for sure, and leadership qualities.
What is your most prized personal possession?
That would be all the gifts that my kids have given me. From when they were young, making cards for me, any personalized gifts. My daughter recently gave me a little compact mirror which had a beautiful message engraved on it, and I think those would be my personal possessions.
What is your favorite country to visit?
I would say Rome is my favorite city.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or tea?
Actually, I like both.
What is your favorite Sri Lankan dish?
I think I'd have to say kiri bath, which actually at 3 a.m. at Cinnamon Lakeside is probably the best.
What brand is your perfume?
I only wear one brand of perfume, and that's Opium by Yves Saint Laurent.
What are some problems you think the next generation might face?
I think actually that it's a very competitive workforce out there. And at the end of the day, I don't think a standard degree necessarily cuts it. You've got to be an all-rounder. You've got to, I think corporates also have to now start thinking of what the next generation want and require to come into the workforce and make sure that they bridge that gap.
What is your favorite three-word sentence?
It's got to be when my kids tell me, "Mom, I'm coming home."
What is your best advice for people starting out their own business?
I think I would say make sure you have a business plan, because that's really important. Make sure you have enough funding and have a clear direction of where you want to be in at least the next 2 years when you first start.
What was your upbringing like?
I think sort of my upbringing was really great actually. My parents moved to the UK in the early 60s, and I think that actually gave us the opportunity of growing up with Hindu traditions as well as enjoying the cosmopolitan society. So I think we had a good mix of when we were growing up.
What is the proudest moment in your career?
When I did my first event, which was back in 2011, and I arrived in Sri Lanka, and it was sort of only 3 months later, and I did the biggest ladies' night ever. We had 450 ladies at the event and 150 on a wait list, and I think that was probably my proudest moment that I did. I accomplished something which I didn't expect to in the first 3 months of arriving here.
What animal best represents you?
Okay, I would have to say a tiger. And that's actually my Chinese horoscope sign.
If you put a bumper sticker on your car, what would it say?
Be cautious.
How would your family describe you?
Very social.
If you had a chance to be someone else, who would you be?
I don't think I'd want to be anybody else. I'm very happy in my own skin. So, no, I don't think I'd want to be anyone else.
What is one word you say the most?
I don't think there is a particular word I say the most. I'm very conscious of that, actually. Maybe actually. Or maybe actually.
What's the best professional advice you've ever been given?
Never let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Because if you put your mind to it, you can do anything that you want.
What are the top 3 apps on your smartphone?
WhatsApp, Shazam, Uber.
What really makes you angry?
Normally, I'm actually a calm person. I try not to get angry very easily. If I was to answer that question, I would say probably child abuse would make me very angry, because these are sort of very vulnerable kids, and when I hear about that, that really does make me angry.
If you could bring one musician back from the dead, who would it be?
It would have to be Elvis Presley.
Who is your celebrity crush?
It would have to be George Clooney.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I would describe myself as an extrovert.
What would you do if you were the president of Sri Lanka?
Oh wow, what a question. I would actually say, don't want to be the president of Sri Lanka. Give me another job, please.
If you could choose your last words, what would they be?
I think my last words would be to my family. Probably I would say, I'll be watching over you. So that was the end of the first segment, and it was really interesting actually. I felt that I was having a moment of when I was reflecting on my life, and that was a good thing actually. I really enjoyed that. The second segment now, which is called Who Am I? So I guess you're going to find out a little bit more about me. Why did Latika initiate ladies VIP nights? Because I saw that there was a gap in the market for high-end events for women, and that's why I created it, so women were able to have fun in a safe environment. Why did Latika name her brand Ladies VIP Nights. I named it Ladies VIP Night because our target audience was actually the Colombo Society ladies initially. Who does Latika admire the most? At the moment, I'm really admiring my two children. I have a son who's 24 and I have a daughter that's just turned 21. And I feel that they've just, grown up to be, sort of great young adults, and very proud of them. And I think at the moment, that's who I admire. What is Latika's biggest strength? My discipline, my passion for what I do, and my attention to detail. When was Latika born? I was born on the 28th of June, and I think I'll just keep the year to myself. Which is Latika's favorite collection yet? Okay, so I collect watches. Whenever there's been a milestone, anniversary or a birthday, or actually even when my daughter was born, I've been given watches. So that's actually a collection that I like to extend. What is Latika's greatest accomplishment? Coming into a country 8 years ago, not knowing anybody, and creating the brand and the events that I do now, I feel that's a pretty good accomplishment for me. What are Latika's other hobbies? I love watching movies, love going out for champagne brunches, and of course I love spending time with my family. What was Latika's dream job growing up? So my dream job growing up was I wanted to be a talk show host. What is Latika's biggest pet peeve? Oh my gosh, I think I'd have to say cab drivers having unnecessary conversation with me. What is Latika's favorite Netflix show? That would have to be Suits. I really enjoy that program. What is Latika's favorite non-physical attribute about herself? I would say my ability to convince people to part with money, especially when I go for sponsorship pitches for my events. Does Latika still watch cartoons? I'm afraid not. Does Latika sing? Yes, I do. I love karaoke. Does Latika wear glasses? I should do, and I do carry it around in my handbag, but I don't always wear it. That's not a good thing. Does Latika have a nickname? Some people call me Lati, the people that know me well, but otherwise I always introduce myself with my full name. Does Latika believe in karma? I certainly do. What goes round, comes round. Does Latika have pets? No, sorry, no pets. Is Latika scared of snakes? Isn't everybody? Is Latika an entrepreneur? Well, I'd like to think I am. Is Latika on Instagram? I certainly am, and the Instagram is Colombo VIP. Is Latika a cat or dog person? I'm afraid neither. Is Latika vegan? Nope. Is Latika atheist? No, I'm not. How Latika became an entrepreneur? Well, my background actually is human resourcing, and I was actually a director of HR in the UK. And when I moved to Singapore in the early 90s, I realized that I wanted to have a bit of a change of career. And we were in Singapore, we were sort of very much in the Singapore society, and we didn't have anything to wear. So if you weren't a size 0, you couldn't find anything. So I sort of decided to start a evening wear brand, which was called Glitterati. So I think sort of my entrepreneur skills kicked in from that time. So how would Latika describe her childhood? I would describe my childhood as being happy. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and I think we're quite a close-knit family, and I have a happy childhood. How would Latika describe herself in 1 word? Organized. How tall is Latika? I think I am 5'1". I wish I was taller. How many languages can Latika speak? I speak 2 languages, English and Hindi. How does Latika get motivated? I think my motivation comes from when people tell me that they really enjoyed an event that they've come to, they're looking forward to the next one. I think that really sort of motivates me to continue bringing better events to them. So that was the end of the 2nd segment. Wow, you guys are getting to know a lot about me. So let's move on to the 3rd segment and let's see what this has to offer. The final segment is called My First. So I guess we'll just have to see how this one goes.
Your first thought today.
You've changed the questions on me.
The first thing you do when you wake up.
I think it's, I unfortunately go to my phone and I check my messages.
The first thing you ate today.
I had cereal.
Your first lesson from Dad.
Believe in yourself, do what you want to do. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. And I've always stuck by that.
Your first advice from Mom.
You're no longer my responsibility. So go and have fun and enjoy every moment.
The first time you got into trouble.
Well, actually, I didn't really get into trouble that much. I left that actually to my older brother, who was much better in that field.
Your first school?
Called Claremont.
The first time you surprised someone?
I think that was actually sort of a very good friend's 40th birthday, and she didn't think I'd be coming, and I surprised her. So that was the first time.
Your first vehicle?
My first vehicle was a Volkswagen Beetle, orange.
Your first time traveling abroad?
Was probably when I was 16 and I went to Paris.
Your first best friend?
And I was about 5 or 6 years old, and it was a girl that lived next door.
The first time you were recognized in public?
I would have to say that would probably be in Singapore. I was in the fashion business, and I used to dress a lot of the celebrities there as well. And I went to an awards ceremony, and people knew my brand and they knew who I was, so I would say that would be the first.
Your first mobile phone?
A Nokia, which I loved.
Your first crush?
My first crush, actually I would say it's probably Robert Redford. I never really had crushes when I was at school. I would say Robert Redford.
Your first love?
My first love, my husband.
The first movie you saw at the cinema?
Saturday Night Fever at Leicester Square.
Your first role model?
My first role model, I think, would be my boss. Was my first boss, who was director of HR, and I think, I really wanted to be like her.
The first thing you notice about a person?
I think it would be their shoes.
The first thing on your bucket list?
I think the first thing on my bucket list would be seeing the rest of Sri Lanka. It's such a beautiful country and so much to explore, and I'd love to go and see all the temples and all the ruins. I mean, there's just so much history which I would really like to see.
Your first job?
My first job was, I was a PA to a director of HR in the UK.
The first time you realized you could succeed?
I never do anything which I don't feel I can succeed at.
Your first salary?
This is a little bit of a story. I was 17 years old and super confident. Went into an agency and I was supposed to be applying for a job. They sent me for an interview and obviously the particular job I applied for had a particular salary, but I walked in and I asked for double and I got it. Went back to the agency and the agency said, but we didn't send you for this job. And I said, well, this is the job I'm doing and this is the salary I've got. So that's my story.
Your first adventure experience?
Would be when I took my kids to Disneyland.
Your first fear?
My first fear would be when I watched a movie called Psycho, which was an Alfred Hitchcock movie. I think I still remember that shower scene, and that was a fear I had for a long time.
The first person you talk to today?
My husband.
The first person you tell when something exciting happens?
My family.
The first time you felt lonely?
I don't know. I don't think I ever really feel lonely. I'm, very fortunate that I have really good friends around me, a really good support system, and I have my phone. So if I feel lonely, I've got a lot of people I can call up all around the world.
The first sport you played?
I enjoy playing badminton. So that's something that when I was in Singapore and we used to have a group of friends that used to play every week. So badminton was something that we played.
Your first big disappointment?
I think I'd have to say something recent. I was disappointed I couldn't get to the Backstreet Boys concert. They're one of my favorite boy bands.
Your first time quitting a bad habit?
Okay, so a bad habit that I've been trying to quit for a while is to stop eating carbs after 6 p.m. But it's not working. So we've now come to the end of this episode of Ask Me on High TV. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed taking part. So until next time, thank you for watching.